Welcome to the Daily Boogie.
Let's pick it up with the Zuck.
We face a number of important issues around privacy, safety, and democracy. And you will rightfully have some hard questions for me to answer. Before I talk about the steps we're taking to address them, I want to talk about how we got here. Facebook is an idealistic and optimistic company. For most of our existence, we focused on all of the good that connecting people can do. And as Facebook has grown, people everywhere have gotten a powerful new tool for staying connected to the people they love, for making their voices heard, and for building communities and businesses.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Just recently, we've seen the Me Too movement and the March for Our Lives organized, at least in part, on Facebook.
Oh, is that
After
fantastic?
Hurricane Harvey, people came together to raise more than $20 million for relief. And more than 70 million small businesses use Facebook to create jobs and grow. But it's clear now that we didn't do enough to prevent these tools from being used for harm as well. And that goes for fake news, for foreign interference in elections, and hate speech, as well as developers and data privacy.
Dr. Gonzo says, I love this guy on Star Trek. Yeah, I've seen that meme too. It's a classic.
Of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake.
It was my mistake. I'm sorry.
I started Facebook.
I started it.
I run it. And I'm responsible for what happens here.
I'm responsible.
After more than a decade of promises to do better, how is today's apology different? And why should we trust Facebook to make the necessary changes to ensure user privacy and give people a clear...
The question answers itself. Obviously, when someone runs something as big and powerful as Facebook and admits that they fucked up and they don't really know what they're doing, the best possible person to fix said problems is the person who admitted that they fucked up and don't know what they're doing, clearly. Question answers itself.
Clearer picture of your privacy policies.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we have made a lot of mistakes in running the company. I think it's pretty much impossible, I believe, to start a company in your dorm room and then grow it to be at the scale that we're at now without making some mistakes. And
yeah, have
because
some
our
sympathy.
Service is about helping people connect and information, those mistakes have been different in how they... We try not to make the same mistake multiple times, but in general, a lot of the mistakes are around how people connect to each other just because of the nature of the service.
Yes.
Overall, I would say that we're going through a broader philosophical shift in how we approach our responsibility as a company.
It's philosophical.
For the first 10 or 12 years of the company, I viewed our responsibility as primarily building tools that...
For the first 10 or 12 years of our company, we just pretty much did whatever we want. And screw the philosophy. Screw it. Screw ethics. Screw ethics. Screw the philosophical underpinnings. Fuck all that. we just ran wild, baby. Because of all the good things that we're doing that we didn't know that we were doing, really. Something. But now that I'm here and all of these things are getting exposed, I mean, you know, 5 years ago we were running psychological experiments on our users. We've been embroiled in censorship controversy. I was meeting with the Chinese propaganda minister 2 years ago to discuss how best to clamp down on, you know, people who aren't good comrades so we can get our product into China. We did that. I agreed with Angela Merkel to crack down on hate speech, quote unquote, whatever that is. Screw philosophy, remember that. Screw definition, screw philosophy. So we were going to clamp down on hate speech. We're now getting little old ladies, tracking them down, doxing them, giving their information to the authorities. There was also that scandal in Pakistan, you'll remember, where we were giving over details of, you know, non-radical Islamists so they could be headhunted and tracked down. We did all that. But that was before. That was in the first 10 to 12 years of our company, and you've got to have some sympathy for us. I'm just a simple country boy starting a company in my dorm room. I'm innocent. I'm a victim. I've made mistakes, and I'm sorry. So all of those occurrences that occurred during that time, you know, that was in the past. But now we have to think about the philosophical import of what we're doing here at Facebook, because we care. It's about information. It's about information and getting people together and raising money for hurricane victims. That's what we're about here at Facebook. Nothing else.
If we could put those tools in people's hands, then that would empower people to do good things.
Good.
What I think we've learned now across a number of issues, not just data privacy, but also fake news and foreign interference in elections, is that we need to take a more proactive role and a broader view of our
Proactive, yes. Let's be
responsibility.
more proactive.
It's not enough.
Let's get censoring before shit happens. Let's get on top of fake news before it finds our way onto our users' news feeds. Fake news that we determine. Let's get the Southern Poverty Law Centre in. Let's get a number of groups in who care about news and fake news and telling truth to people, because we care about the philosophical underpinnings of what we're doing now. We didn't last week, but now we do. So let's get all of these guys in. Let's get Snopes on board. We can get Snopes to fact check all the information on Facebook, decide for people what's fake news and what isn't. Because when we discuss the deeper philosophical underpinnings of what we're doing here at Facebook, what we must remember is that the average ordinary Facebook user is far too stupid to decide for themselves which information is valid and which isn't. So we should do that for them, because we believe in free speech. We believe in connecting people with information, but only certain types of information, which we will watch through our own internal filters first, because if we don't, then we're doing bad things. We're doing bad things. We're fucking up, and I'm sorry. So we need to get more proactive, get those filters really cranked up to stop people from seeing information which we have predetermined for them to be unnecessary or inappropriate or inoffensive. Philosophically, this is the way forward for us here at Facebook.
To just build tools. We need to make sure that they're used for good.
That
means that we need to now take a more active view in policing the ecosystem, and in watching and kind of looking out and making sure that all of the...
Here he is getting hauled in front of this committee over reports that they were basically spying on people by getting their data and sending it to third parties. And his solution is more spying. We need to pay more attention to what people are doing. We need to pay more attention to what you're reading. We need to be more proactive in stopping you from using the tools for evil instead of good. Good that we determine, because we're right into philosophy now. We're big philosophy buffs here at Facebook. Now we are. We weren't last week, but now we are. Now we care. Before that, it was just the Wild West. But yeah, that's the answer. There's been a big downslide in trust with our users, because we've been selling our data, their data, to other people. So the way we need to get on top of these horrible things like fake news, is by doing more. We need to clamp down more, be more proactive.
Members in our community are using these tools in a way that's going to be good and healthy. So
good and healthy.
At the end of the day, this is going to be something where people will measure us by our results on this.
Yeah, I am.
It's not that I expect
doing
that anything
exactly
I say
that.
here today to necessarily change people's view.
No.
But I'm committed to getting this right. And I believe that over the coming years, once we fully work all these solutions through, people will see real differences.
Okay, that's
Facebook's
great.
been
Just in a few years. In a few years, you'll see differences.
Special counsel Mueller's office, is that correct?
None of these people understand social media or Facebook.
Yes.
Have you or anyone at Facebook been interviewed by the special counsel's office?
Yes.
Have you been interviewed?
I have not. I have not.
Others have.
I believe so, and I want to be careful here, because that our work with the special counsel is confidential, and I want to make sure that in an open session I'm not revealing something that's confidential.
I understand. That's why I made clear that you have been contacted, you have had subpoenas.
Actually,
Yes.
let me clarify that. I actually am not aware of a subpoena. I believe that there may be, but I know we're working with them.
Ah, nice backtrack.
Your chief operating officer, Ms. Sandberg, suggested on the NBC Today show that
cares what they say on
Facebook
NBC Today?
users who do not want their personal information used for advertising might have to pay for that
How do I
protection.
download?
Pay
Dr.
for it.
Godzo says, how do I download Facebook
you
onto my
actually-
abacus?
Considering having Facebook users pay for you not to use that information?
Senator, people have a control over how their information is used in the
Ah,
ads and the product
yes.
today. So if you want to have an experience where your ads aren't targeted using all the information that we have available, you can turn off third-party information. What we've found is that even though some people don't like ads, people really don't like ads that aren't relevant. And while there is some discomfort, for sure, with
Let's decide what's relevant.
using information in making ads more relevant, the overwhelming feedback that we get from our community is that
Carol asks, why the hell are they working with special counsel? I can only assume that Stormy Daniels is big on Facebook, and there may be some evidence there of pussy grabbing, which we have yet to find, which we couldn't unearth simply by raiding Mr. Cohen's personal office. So to get to the bottom of it, we have to scour Facebook now to look for pussy grabbing references, fake news, and any reference to Stormy Daniels on Facebook. I'm sure she's got some kind of group on Facebook. The hornyforstormy.com group. They're very active in Russia, I'm led to believe. And they also had a meeting with a diplomat in a bar at some point. The hornyforstormy.com group. Vagine.
people would rather have us show relevant content there than not. So we offer this
relevant
control
content.
that you're referencing. Some people use it. It's not the majority of people on Facebook.
No, it's not.
And I think that's a good level of control to offer. I think what Cheryl was saying was that in order to not run ads at all, we would still need some sort of business model.
Yes.
And that is your business model. So I take it that, and I use the harmless example of chocolate, but if it got into more personal thing, communicating with friends, and I want to cut it off, I'm going to have to pay you in order not to send me, using my personal information, something that I don't want. That, in essence, is what I understood Ms. Sandberg to say. Is that correct?
Yes, Senator. Although, to be clear, we don't offer an option today for people to pay to not show ads. We think offering an ad-supported service is the most aligned with our mission of trying to help connect everyone in the world.
Ah, yes. But getting people to pay for ads on Facebook, that helps our mission, which is good and holy and moral and virtuous. You see, because a lot of people become friends because they like the same products that are advertised on Facebook. You'll find a lot of people connect with each other, human to human, through the screen on Facebook by saying, did you get that commercial for those cheap toilet paper rolls? Yes, I did. Wasn't it just fantastic? Yes, it was. Are you going to buy them? Yes, I am. Hey, we'll be best friends. Yay. I for one am glad that Facebook pumps my feed full of irrelevant and nonsensical advertisements. I couldn't be happier, because one day I'm going to meet somebody's very important through those commercials.
Because we want to
I'm
offer
glad
a
I don't
free
have the
service
option
that
to stop
everyone
it.
can afford.
Okay.
That's the only way that we can reach billions of people.
Yes.
So, therefore, you consider my personally identifiable data the company's data, not my data. Is that it?
No, Senator. Actually, at the first line of our terms of service say that you control and own the information and content that you put on Facebook.
You don't
What we
think you
do.
have a monopoly?
It certainly doesn't feel like that to me.
Here's the question that
It
all
doesn't
of us
feel
gotta
like one.
answer. What do we tell our
Therefore, it isn't one.
constituents, given what's happened here, why we should let you self-regulate? What would you tell people in South Carolina that, given all the things we've just discovered here, it's a good idea for us to rely upon you to regulate your own business practices?
Well, Senator, my position is not that there should be no regulation. I think the internet is
Do
increasingly
you embrace
important.
regulation?
I think the real question, as the internet becomes more important in people's lives, is what is the right regulation, not whether there should be or
But you
not.
as a
Oh, okay,
company
so we can't
welcome
even discuss it.
regulation?
See, I'm against internet regulation for the very reason that I don't want people like Mark Zuckerberg deciding what regulations should be in place. I see a lot of people going, oh, we need to regulate. No, you don't. Because guess who's going to be writing the regulations? It's going to be people that you don't like. And then once you have regulations, even if they are regulations that you approve of, it's only a matter of time before somebody that you don't approve of gets in and tweaks those very same regulations to screw you. Unfortunately, a lot of people find freedom very, very frightening in today's age, in the free world. Regulation is not the answer, and if you think it's the answer, then trust me, eventually it won't be, because whoever controls the regulation will control what you see, what you hear, what you can say. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Triple Agent says, let me help you write the laws. Yeah, wouldn't that be lovely? Wouldn't that be fantastic? Why don't we get the arsonists to write the laws for the regulations for the fire department? You must wait 20 minutes before you leave the depot. Let's get the murderers to write the regulations on, you know, murder. Let's get Facebook to help write the regulations about what should and shouldn't be seen on the internet. Wouldn't that be wonderful? What a great idea. Let's regulate social media, because right now, in this era, we're upset that certain people are saying certain things on social media, so we need to regulate it. And it'll work in our favor for a year or two. And then when someone else gets into power, they'll change the regulation and screw you with it. It's not what you want.
I think if it's the right regulation, then
You
yes.
think the Europeans have it right?
I think that they get things right.
Have you ever submitted?
See?
That's true. So
Yeah, that's true. The European regulations, you know, like where little old ladies give an opinion about the migrant crisis. Thanks for joining us, Heather. See you next time. Little old ladies give an opinion on the migrant crisis that is less than complimentary, and they get arrested for hate speech on social media. Why have it? Oh, they get it right, do they? Fantastic. That's what's coming down the pipeline. If you think that's right, then prepare yourself.
would you work with us in terms of what regulations you think are necessary in your industry?
Absolutely.
Okay, would you submit to us some proposed regulations?
Yes, and I'll have my team follow up with you so that way we can have this discussion across the different categories where I think that this discussion needs to happen.
Look forward to it.
Would you support a child online privacy bill of rights for kids under 16 to guarantee that that information is not reused for any other purpose without explicit permission from the parents or the kids?
Senator, I think as a general principle, I think protecting minors and protecting their privacy is extremely important. And we do a number of things on Facebook to do that already, which I'm happy to get
And I
into if
appreciate it.
that's
I'm
helpful.
talking about a law. I'm talking about a law. Would you support a law to ensure that kids under 16 have this privacy
Yeah,
bill of
I'll
rights?
take you out to
I had
lunch.
this conversation
Exactly.
with you in your office 7 years ago about this specific subject in Palo Alto. And I think that's really what the American people want to know right now. What is the protections? What are the protections that are going to be put on the books for their families, but especially for their children? Would you?
It's funny, someone of this guy's age should understand that once upon a time it was the parents' job to protect their children. Believe it or not. Nope. Now we need the big billionaire social media tycoons and tech, Silicon Valley big cheeses. They need to do the protecting of your kids for you because it's too difficult. It's too difficult. What are you doing to protect my kids? How is Facebook going to save my children? I understand that there's a lot of shitty parents out there, mind you. But that's the way it used to be. Can't have that anymore. It's a changing world. It's a changing world. But what we really need is regulations to save people from themselves and save people's children from their own shitty parents.